Hey, I'm Coach T, and this is the 18th week of my C Sharp year-long video diary. In this video, we are going to just talk a little bit about my progress this week. It'll be short because it was kind of a bear of a week, even with that day off. I just had a lot of work responsibilities, and I got new work responsibilities, so it was kind of a navigation of figuring out how we're going to get more blood from the stone. So that doesn't sound very positive, but like I'm glad for the responsibilities that I got offered. So just got to figure out exactly what that means for my practice. But I did work every single night for something like a half hour to an hour on learning more about using Unity. And at this point, I'm pretty comfortable with the interface. I'm moving around it pretty comfortably, pretty easily, pretty fluidly. But I've been really reading closely from Joseph Hocking's Unity in Action book. This is by Manning Press. If you buy the physical copy, you get a PDF and Kindle that goes with it, which has been really nice. Because when I'm like sitting in the car, I locked myself out of work the other day because I forgot my badge. So I was able to sit and read for the 20 minutes it took for it to become public access so I could get in. And I just read on my phone because I have the Kindle copy now. So that was awesome. And I really like this book. The way that it's written is he's very clear up front. This is not for people learning programming. You need to know an object-oriented programming language. Python, Java, C Sharp, C++, whatever. You need to have those concepts down. And then he'll show you how to do it in C Sharp, but he's not explaining the fundamental coding that underlies the rest of what we're doing. So he's also very project oriented. So as an instructional coach, where my job is to help people facilitate better instruction through reflective reasoning, cognitive coaching, and then actual data collection and analysis, this is a good curriculum design. He gets you started learning the interface by making a simple project rather than just learning what each button does in isolation. And then that project culminates, and it's kind of this gate point where he goes, okay, now we're going to go out into the broader world because I've accomplished my main objective of you getting comfortable maneuvering the interface, writing scripts, doing the component design. It's very clever from an instructional coaching point of view. I have had no technical issues with this book so far. In other resources that I've used, I do periodically run into issues where the instructor jumps the shark and they probably out of habit in the curse of knowledge just fly over something fundamental that a learner wouldn't even know to ask. And so there's a disconnect that's frustrating. So far, and I'm about 70 or 80 pages into this so far, I haven't had that at all. A big part of the success here, though, is that I am very comfortable with the intermediate C Sharp. So I have not yet written a script where I did not know exactly what it was doing, or upon looking at the Unity docs go, oh, I know exactly what that's doing. So I'm not taking the kind of vociferous notes that I did when I was working through the Whitaker book. I took a lot of notes on his book, and I literally have filled a notebook and change with notes on developing C Sharp. Rather, I'm really trying to explain to myself where, like the narrative flow of a script where it's challenging. So, for example, I'll pull up the mouse look script. So this is the mouse look script, and what this does is it allows the mouse to look around, and it's very different than the other way that I have done in Unity before, where it's more of a twin stick shooter. So it's rotating the object to look at the mouse using ray casting, and there's a point connected to the mouse at all times. So wherever the mouse is, there is an object raycast out to that surface, and then the object at the center of the screen, the player character, rotates to look at it. This is a different system. So what we've got is an enum, and that allows me to choose the mouse settings. That's useful, but I'm not going to get into why. And then I've got a rotation axis, so I'm telling it by default, here's the axis we're starting on. I'm setting up the sensitivity. We're setting up the minimum, maximum verticality on that particular thing, although I changed this. I tinkered with it to make it flow better. And then a variable to hold the current angle of rotation. So this is where we get into the new Unity stuff, new to me. But basically, I had to figure out what a rigid body is, right? I think I grasp it now because I was able to apply one yesterday to solve a problem. And then basically, if this body that it looks for, it looks in the thing that or if the component when it starts does not have a rigid body, it skips this. But if it does have a rigid body for some reason, and it should not, then it will freeze the rotation to prevent weird physical interactions. So that's one new Unity logic flow. And I had to figure out how to explain this to myself. So if when I instantiate this object, when we run the script, and it starts, it tries to find a rigid body, and then if that is not null, meaning it found one, then freeze it. Freeze the rotation specifically. And this is a method in Unity, freeze rotation. We've got other ones down here too. So I'm learning to explain these scripts to myself so that I can implement them in my own little goofball projects off on the side. And this morning I made a couple components in Blender to like slap together a bigger level because that's the next part. So I made like some tubes inspired by Halo CE, some ramps, stuff like that, so I can make a level that works. So I'll play the script. I'll show you what I've built this week. I'm not done with the third chapter. I have to make it so that the player gets hurt. Oh, I just got hit. The player gets hurt. Oh, it's shooting at me. So yeah, all right, here we go. Here's the gameplay. So if this little guy senses me, he will shoot a fireball at me. It's simple, right? He wanders kind of aimlessly. But if he sees me, he gets mad and shoots a fireball. And the fireball eventually will destroy itself if it hits something else. So right now, it just hit me. I can see it in the bottom left. It says player hit. We're going to kill him. Oh, I missed. There he goes. Okay, so he will disappear, and then a new one spawns. He goes for like 2.5 seconds, I think. I was playing with the script to make him sync, but ultimately, while I was able to make it work, I used Gemini to do it, and I wasn't satisfied with doing that. I want to know how to do it on my own. So I got rid of the script until I figured it out on my own. So yeah, that's it. There's collisions. I can't go through the walls. You can see there's still some goofball shadow stuff. I haven't learned much about that. I haven't looked into it. I'm still playing with the same essential level, but I've really focused on understanding these fundamentals so that if I had to, I could probably logic my way through this with my old script and understand how to build it into my own experience. So the next step in the learning process is connecting the fireball to player health, which is going to call from fireball script. I think it'll be on trigger enter collider. Something here will say like player dot receive damage. And it'll go over to the player. Actually, I don't know if I have one. Now that I think about it, I bet I need to build a player script that stores its health. Scenery. Excuse me. Okay. Yep, player character. Okay, and I thought I do have one. It's just not attached to player character. Oh no, it is. Huh? Wasn't open in Visual Studio. Yeah, so I'm willing to bet that this is going to be like public. We'll do a serialized field. Serialize field. Int player health, and we'll do a public void damage player, and we got to do int damage. We're going to take damage in as a parameter, I would think. Yep. Oh, this is almost identical. So health minus equals damage. Okay. And then debug.log. And I'm looking here on the side now, and basically the setup that I have is almost identical to what I thought it was going to be. Health. Whoa. Health equals player health. Very hard to type around the microphone. Yeah. All right. So now, if we go back to Fireball script, I'm just going to take this reference. Player character dot. No, we'll do character dot damage player damage And let's see if it works. We just need to make sure that we set player health to, let's say 5 here. And then click the play button. And we should be good to go. All right, that one missed me. Shoot again. There we go. Okay, player hit. I'm going to pause, and I want to look at the debug log console. Health 4. Player health 3. It's working. There we go. Okay. Let's add one more thing, and then I think we'll call this log a wrap. Go back into Visual Studio, and we'll do, just going to find him. There he is. Player health. Where would we want to put this? Damage player. I think we want public void announce untimely death. We'll just do a void. Okay. Debug dot log. You are dead. Whoops. Whoops. Very hard to type around a microphone. Okay. If player health is less than or equal to 0, then we will announce untimely death. That is probably not the most efficient way to do that because it's going to update like constantly, but let's give it a shot. I got to take 5 fireballs to the head. Come here. 1. I don't know. 1 or 2 there. 2. Maybe 3. Come here. Come here. That one definitely hit me. This AI always looks so busy. There's just a man about town. Ah, there it is. You are dead. All right, so it's working. Okay, so yeah, that's Unity. We just did the last section here, real time. So I'm on to chapter 4, which is building the bigger level, and that's kind of what I was prepping for this morning, learning a little bit about art assets. So the next week, when I upload my next week 19 video, or whatever week this is, these should have some textures on them, and I may be working on a memory game. So we're doing Unity. I know it's not as technical as some of what I was working on before, but I'm enjoying it, and I'm writing a fair bit of scripts. I'm learning about new ways to use it. I've had to use enums. I've had to use some event declarations. I've done lots of if-thens. I've written for loops. I was actually doing a for loop for making it sync to the floor. Calling different things between scripts, still doing lots of object-oriented behavior, and really I'm just playing with the theory of how all this stuff works. My thought is I think we're going to work on a twin stick game. So if I start to do devlogs for that, if it becomes anything more than a sideshow, a practice method, then we'll do some devlogs on the company side channel. And I'll link those when and if we ever get that far. But for now, I'm not focused on a final project. I'm focused on learning, getting my legs under me so that I can even begin to assess what would be necessary to start building something like a playable demo. So that's it. I'm having fun so far. We're only 2 weeks into this as part of the 3-month experiment, so we got quite a ways to go. But yeah, if you like this kind of thing, or if you play with Unity too, drop a comment. If you like the video logs and you find them interesting, like it. Otherwise, I will be back next Saturday, hopefully with a textured maze. That'd be kind of cool. So, adios.